Hey you guys, welcome to Ruston's Boneyard. I am Jack Ruston and I am not ready to let go of summer. I'm not ready to move on to the braised lamb shanks and the slow cooked beef shins. Let's cling on just a couple of weeks longer. Let's do something fresh and vibrant and fragrant, something Italian. Let's make a pesto grilled chicken salad. First thing to do, I'm gonna make a fresh pesto. Now of course you can buy it, but if you make it fresh, I promise you the upgrade is just immeasurable. We've got this beautiful fresh basil which I've just washed. It's come straight off the plant and I'm just going to take the leaves. I don't really want all these thick stalks. It's fine if there's a few bits, but for the most part we're just going to trim those leaves off. Always get it on the plant if you possibly can. It makes such a difference. Now I'm going to keep, just for garnish, one small sprig. We've got our fresh basil. Now we need some toasted pine nuts. Now to toast them, just put them on an oven tray and put them in a 180 degrees centigrade, 350 degrees Fahrenheit oven. You can do them on the hob in a pan, but they tend to burn so easily. You've got to watch them like a hawk. In the oven, they probably take about 10 minutes. And what I want, this was a whole bag. I'm going to use about half of this. So, you know, I don't tend to weigh them out. Kind of have a look at how much basil I've got. Give it a good scattering, a few more, that's about right. We need some garlic. So let's just run down it and that goes in on there. Now cheese, you can use Parmesan, but you should use pecorino if you can get it. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to crumble it in. Again, I'm not going to be too fussy about exactly how much of it there is or whether it's too cut up. If you want to grate it, go ahead and do that. But I'm just going to break it up a bit. What else do we need? A squeeze of lemon juice. I've scraped the pips out of this half of lemon, but if any go in, then just fish them out of there. A grind of black pepper. It's optional really. And what we need is a good slug of olive oil. Now, use the best olive oil you can possibly get. And I know it's expensive, but my tip for olive oil is to buy it in these big 3-litre cans. This cost me £17, and to buy an equivalent oil in smaller bottles would have cost about 60. So it's a massive saving, and you can sometimes get these off Amazon or you can find them in certain suppliers, but a big tin of good olive oil is a great thing to have. Now, all we need to do, whiz it up. After it's had that first little blast, just get a spatula and just scrape the sides down, because there's always some bits left on the side. So we've got our beautiful pesto, and what we're going to do is we're going to take these beautiful organic pastured chicken thighs. They are skinless and boneless, and we're just going to scrape it off here and spoon it over the top. You don't have to use all of it. You could maybe keep some back if you want to use it for something else. It will always make another meal mixed with pasta for the kids, that kind of stuff. Spread it all over those pieces of chicken, and there's no substitute actually for getting your hands dirty and just going in and mixing it all really carefully through. Try not to get it wormed myself. So we're going to rub it into every little part of these. Now if you can leave these to marinate for a bit, if you've got time, it's a really good idea. You can even just leave them in the fridge overnight or something. They'll do a wonderful job of sort of infusing with all those delicious flavours. But you don't have to. As long as you get it on there, it's gonna do a pretty great job. Okay, now we want to get our grill nice and hot over there. And what I'm going to do is just lay these on. Now, we do need to be a little bit careful. If we're doing these on a barbecue over coals, for example, we need to really be mindful of the fact that this, the fat on this from the cheese is going to burn very easily. There's oil and cheese and all these things. So we need to be a little bit careful with the heat. I'm using an electric grill, and that usually just lets me kind of crank it pretty high. But you know, as always with these things, you have to know your own oven. You have to know how it behaves. If your grill gets particularly hot, you might need to turn it down a little bit. So I can't tell you exactly what setting to use, but if you experiment a bit, you will doubtless find the best way. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take a spoon and just take a little bit of this and spread it over the top on a couple of these, just to make sure I've got some in there, and I'm going to save a little bit for when I turn them over under the grill. Now while that's grilling, we can just prep the rest of our salad. So I've got some nice romaine lettuce here. I'm just going to put a few leaves around the plate, and then I've got these beautiful little plum tomatoes, and I'm going to cut those into halves, lengthways. So basically we're just going with very, very classic flavours: tomato, basil, mozzarella, avocado, and it's going to be super delicious. Can't go wrong, can't lose. So here we go. Now we've got an avocado. It's a nice thick slices, you know, a good centimetre. No one wants a tiny sliver of avocado. You want a chunk of it, don't you? Now I can smell, hear that chicken. I'm just going to have a look. It's looking really great. I need to be careful that I don't lose track of it and let it burn. Avocados drink salt. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to season them separately with a little sprinkling of this Maldon salt before I pop them around my dish, and some of these lovely little mozzarella balls, which are so beautiful. So here's our chicken, and what we can see is that we've got this nice kind of golden crust forming. So let's turn it. Try not to scrape that off as you turn it. Don't scrape it across the grill bars, because it'll just kind of rip it away. You want that to stay on there. So I'm going to turn it, and then I'm going to just quickly give that a little bit of the remainder of this pesto. Make the most of that. That's where a lot of the flavour is coming from in the salad. You know, we're not overcomplicating the rest of it. This is where all this sort of intensity is coming from. Back under the grill. So here we go. Look, we've got these beautiful, beautiful grilled pesto chicken thighs. And what we're looking for in terms of doneness is a temperature of at least 65 degrees. Now, because we're using thighs, and because they're coated in this fat, effectively, they are much more. They'll be far more tender, even if they go over that. It's not like a breast, like a plain chicken breast, where if you go anywhere over it gets very dry. They won't really dry out. So you can afford to let the smaller ones go a little bit hotter in order to make sure that the bigger ones are cooked. Or obviously you can just put the bigger ones in for a bit longer. Sometimes you get these quite inconsistent thicknesses. Just make sure that you're at least 65 degrees for safety. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let these cool down, because we don't really want to put steaming hot chicken onto our salad. It's just going to kind of cause it to wilt, and it's going to be a bit weird. So we're just going to let it cool down for about 10 minutes or so. Now, obviously you can just slice them up into pieces if you want, but what I quite like to do is to just put a little single slice down the middle of each one, just so you have some nice kind of chunks. They seem to look really nice on the dish when you do that. We're just gonna finish this salad off with a grind of pepper, a little sprinkling of salt, because we only seasoned the avocados. And then what we're gonna do is put just a little drizzle of this nice olive oil over here, and then we'll lay our beautiful pieces of chicken on like this. Just pop them on all around. I'm just going to take this unwaxed lemon. I'm just going to grate some lemon zest over the top like this. So beautiful and fragrant. And then we'll do another little drizzle of olive oil around the dish and garnish with a few of those preserved basil leaves. So here we go. It's beautiful Italian style chicken salad. We've got those bold flavors of pesto, pecorino, tomato, olive oil, lemon zest. We've got mozzarella. It's absolutely beautiful. Give it a go. Take a picture, stick it on Instagram, tag me at Rustin's Boneyard. I would love to see what you're up to. I would love to get to know you. For now, keep cooking.